All right, everybody, welcome to Fuel Cap. This is going to be the last episode until the end of the month. But welcome Jacob DeMartino. He is a fellow
Thank you.
RX-8 owner, and yeah, we met at a car meet. Both have RX-8s,
Yep.
obviously, and I thought it'd be cool to have him on because he dailies his car, and you have some other cool cars as well. So I want to talk about
Yep.
that. How you been?
I'm good. How have you been?
Pretty good. Just chilling. Not much to do because quarantine, but things are opening back up, so it's better.
Yeah, hopefully we can get out, start having a little more meets than normal.
Yeah, the last meet that I met you at was fun because there were a lot of people. It got shut down in like 5 minutes, like
Yeah, it
literally.
was quick.
Yeah, but no, how's the car been treating you? I see you're in it right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's been fine. I mean, everything's running great.
Okay.
Just personally with these cars, you just got to keep up with them.
Yeah, that's a lot of the struggle, is keeping up with the rotary.
Yep. I mean, you got to keep up with them, but if you keep up with them, they keep up with you.
Yeah. So how long have you had yours?
I've had mine probably for about a little over a month now.
Okay. So that's a pretty good amount of time to like get a good feeling for how you enjoy it as a daily.
Yeah.
So how do you enjoy it for a daily?
I mean, it's got its complications because it is a manual.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in traffic, it's a little annoying. It's not too bad, but
Yeah.
my car's lime green, so we do get a lot of looks
Oh, for sure.
with everybody. But yeah, it's not bad. The daily's not bad. I wish it could be a little better on gas,
Yes.
but it's not awful.
No, it's definitely not awful. But you'd think out of a 1.3 liter, you'd get better than like six. For me,
Yep.
at least, it's like 14 to 16 miles per gallon, depending on how much,
Yep.
like how hard I'm driving. Same for you.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, it's one of the drawbacks of having a rotary though, but it's fun. It's worth it probably,
Yeah,
right?
they are. They're all. I love rotary. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
these cars are. I've always loved them.
So when you got this car, you wanted it because it was a rotary or just because you like the car?
Yes, just because it was a rotary. I mean, I love the car itself. I've always loved RX-7s, RX-8s. But once I saw it was the rotary instead of like the 4 cylinder, or sometimes they have the inline six.
Yeah.
Like once I heard it was rotary, I mean that pretty much drew me right to it.
Yeah, no, totally. Um, that's funny though, because for me, originally, so my first car was an Integra, and kind of, did a little bit with it, but not much. Then I eventually sold that, and then I was just dailying a Ford Explorer for a while. And then I was just like, I really, really, really wanted a project car, and I wanted to go rear-wheel drive, not necessarily rotary. So I was looking on like Facebook Marketplace, Auto Tempest, and I was just filtering like rear wheel drive, and I was like, all right, my budget's probably like 5,000 or less.
Yeah,
So I noticed like a lot of RX-8s popping up, and I was like, oh, like that's cool. Like I don't know much about them. I know they're a rotary, but other than that, I didn't really know much else. So I looked more into it, and I was like, these cars are kind of cool, but
yeah,
actually initially the reason I didn't go for it right away was because it was a rotary. And then I was like, all right, you know what? Like I want a real project car, so I'm gonna buy an RX-8, drive the rotary just to like have experienced it, and then I want to do an LS swap. And everyone was like that I asked or any research I did, everyone was like honestly, like once you have a rotary, you're gonna want to stay with a rotary,
yeah,
and that exact situation happened to me.
yep. Because that's exactly what I was gonna do. I was gonna swap it right out. Once I hit a certain amount of mileage on it, I was gonna swap it.
Yeah,
Because I mean, we all know the sometimes provocations of when you get high mileage rotary.
low
It could,
compression, apex seals.
yeah,
Yeah.
it could go bad. But I mean, I think I have 56,000 miles on it. I can actually check. Yeah, I only have 56. So I
Oh,
mean,
that's not
it's
bad.
not too bad.
Yeah, that's wow. That's really low for what year is it? 06, you said?
Oh 05.
05. Oh, okay, same as mine.
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy. Because mine, has has over double that on the body at least. The body's 138,000, and then the
Wow.
engine. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said hello. Oh, all right. Yeah, and the engine has about 70,000. It was somewhere in the
That's
sixty
not too
thousand
bad.
range. Yeah, I mean, most people who have had the engines go bad, like said it was like around 100,000. But there's even
Yeah.
it's crazy because there's people who like don't really know what they have. They just drive the RX-8, don't really know what it is, do like the basic maintenance, not even like the pre-mixing or any of that, and they go up to like 200,000 miles. Like on the
Yeah.
RX-8 club forums, it's just like there's so many people that are like, yeah, this car's lasted me like so many miles, and it's crazy. Like it's really just you don't know.
It's just a lot of maintain. You got to keep it maintained.
Yeah, no, yeah, but
That's what can get you a long way. That's what most cars you just got to keep it up and it'll last you for a long time.
yeah. I mean, and then you get Hondas and Toyotas. You could do whatever too. You could just abuse it, and
Pretty
then
much.
it'll keep on going. Or Lexuses even, but that's a Toyota. But that's a completely different story. Um, so we just talked about the RX-8, but you have two other interesting cars as well. So why don't you talk a
Yes.
little bit about that?
So I have a EK hatch
Okay.
that I mean I use it for fun.
Yeah.
It's a Honda, so I mean it's a fun car. The only thing I really did to it, it's got coilovers, rims, tires, and a trunk spoiler. So I
Okay.
mean it looks good. It's not amazing.
Yeah.
That's more of a just like my fuck around car. Oh, I didn't mean to curse.
You're good. You're good, man. Um,
Yeah, it's like my mess around car.
yeah. No. Okay. No, that makes sense. I mean, like, it's not a rear-wheel drive rotary, so you know.
Exactly. I mean the experience going from that to this is like totally different
Oh yeah. No, I can
because I'm going
imagine.
from like this little 4 cylinder to like something that actually got some power.
Yeah.
And then
Um,
yeah, but it's just kind of like my mess around car I use for fun.
yeah. No, I get that. That's like what the Integra was for me. Except the Integra was my daily. So I might have messed around a little too much with that and abused it more than I needed to. But I mean, I kind of think like everyone who has a Honda kind of does that anyway. So
Yeah, pretty
just how,
much.
just how it goes. I mean, did you have the hatch before the RX-8?
Yeah, so that was my daily for a little while.
There you go. That's like every car guy daily to Honda at some point.
Yep.
And then your other car sounds very interesting. Open wheel
Yeah.
race car.
Yes.
So
I have a
do tell.
I so I race a open wheel race car. We race at Wall Stadium, so pretty local.
Yeah.
Not too bad. But yeah, I race circle track.
Okay.
So it's a big oval.
Yeah.
And the motor I have in that, I think it's a 350 small block. It's fully built.
Wow.
So it's pushing around 550 to the wheels.
Okay.
I mean, it's fun. It's way different than, hopping in this and then going into that.
Yeah.
Because I'm in this and, I have 6-speed manual, so I'm used to that. But my open wheel car is really only 2 gears.
Oh wow.
So I have a high and a low, and then I have neutral.
That's
So I have
interesting.
neutral, and then I have high and low. So high is normally when you're going down a front stretch, and then low is normally when you go around a turn. So
Okay.
I'm barely using my clutch. Half the time I'm not. I'm just kind of burping the gas and throwing it in gear.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I don't recommend doing that because it's not great. But yeah, that car is it's really fun. It's expensive, but it's really fun.
Yeah. Like what? How did that come to be? Exactly. Because that's not something a lot of people really do, or especially around here.
Yeah.
Like you go over to Europe, like open wheel racing, like Formula One's a
Yeah.
huge international thing, but here you don't really have much of that.
Yeah. Kind of came from generations.
Okay. So
My
it's in your
grandfather-
family.
Yeah.
Okay.
My
that's cool.
grandfather started a long time ago, and and then my dad did it for a while, and
Okay.
then I kind of just started taking it over and going on from there.
Sweet. So you were kind of into cars from like an early age, I take it?
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
ever
That
since I could probably remember.
Yeah, wow. So then this car, then the open wheel car, how does that work? Like, is it based off of a chassis of an existing car, or completely like you welded it?
It's pretty much completely its own thing.
Okay, wow.
Like you're not really gonna find a chassis the same, and if you do, I mean, then they probably built it themselves, custom made.
Yeah.
But it's really fun.
Oh, I'm
Like
sure.
the car, and it's a little weird because the right side tires are bigger than the left side tires
Because you're
because
going
you're
left.
only turning left.
Yeah.
So when you get in the car, you feel like slanted. It's because you are. But yeah, our turns are actually 35 degrees. So
Okay.
we're pretty slanted when we turn.
Yeah. I didn't even realize because I've been to Wall like a couple times when I was younger, and like you don't
Yeah.
realize like from the stands like the slant in the
Yep.
track. I just like
It
NASCAR
doesn't
too.
look Yeah, it doesn't look that crazy until you actually, are on it. Even walking on it you can tell, but when you're really
Mm.
driving on it, you're kind of slanted like that for a while, but
Yeah.
it's a really fun car.
So how long have you had that?
I started off with a 4-cylinder, so there's different divisions. There
Okay.
you got 4-cylinder, which is like I would say the beginner class,
Yeah.
and then you have what I have now, which is a sportsman, which is the open wheeled. So I had a 4-cylinder. I actually had what was it? A Cavalier was the chassis
Oh,
for
neat.
my 4-cylinder.
Okay.
Yeah, it was cool. I raced that for 2 years, and then I kind of got bored of how slow it was.
Yeah.
I wanted to go something a little faster, so then we bought the open wheel car, and that's fun. I've been racing that for I think maybe 4 years, so it's not
So
bad.
so how long have you been racing then? For a while. That's at least 6 years of experience right
Ooh.
there.
Yeah, I think the first race car I got in, I was probably like maybe 6 or 7.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That so is do you plan to have a future with that at all, or kind of for
I
fun right
mean,
now?
it's more for a fun thing. I don't see myself like going NASCAR,
Yeah.
but maybe like I'm more of the technical side of it, like the actual like how the motor runs, and that's
Hmm.
what I like about it, how the motor runs and the aerodynamics and all that. So who knows, maybe one day I will be behind the walls of NASCAR
Yeah, like
building
as
the
a
motor.
race engineer or something.
Exactly. I mean, who knows? You never know.
Yeah, I mean, like the sport's so big. There's so many. Like I was just watching the race on a Sunday, and I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
there was that crazy crash.
On pit road.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
because you don't really notice like there's the pit crew, but then you don't really think much about it. Like they hop over the wall, do their thing, hop back over the wall. But then,
Yeah.
with what happened, they kind of focused on that a little more, and I was like, wow, there's actually like a lot of people involved, more than just like the drivers and the managers and stuff. So it's
Exactly.
incredible the number of like opportunities there are to work, even just like a really like simple job. Like there's a need for everything. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
like the gas guy. I mean, he just puts the gas can right
Some
in the car,
gas,
and that's all
yeah,
he does.
yeah,
But like every position on that team works hand in hand. That's why they get it so fast. That's how the pit stops are so fast,
yeah.
because
So
they work hand in hand
yeah,
as fast as they can.
and then with wait, what is the I guess league of racing that you're in?
It's called Sportsman.
Sportsman. Okay. So how like team oriented is that? Is it really just kind of up to you and whoever you have with you?
I mean, so we don't really have pit stops
Okay.
because we don't race that many laps. Like a typical race for us is probably between 50 and 75. So we're not going like 350 laps where, we need to change tires and shit.
Yeah.
But normally it's like it's more of like a my feel. Like if I feel something wrong with the car, or if my spotter sees something wrong, like
Yeah.
I'm losing a tire or something, they'll let me know and be like, all right, come in for the pit. We'll do it real quick and head back out.
Mhm.
Now, there's no way you're going, like, you're not going to just randomly be like, oh, I need new tires, pull in there, change 4 tires and go back out for 20 laps. There's no real point for that.
Yeah.
Like, but, you will get the flat here and there, and you got to go in. Or like, there was one time I went out for practice, didn't even bother checking gas, and I ran out of gas.
Oh, man.
So they had to tow me back in there, and I was like, oh, whoops.
Oops, yeah. No, that's... So, is it a high level of competition with it, or what's the experience kind of like? Very, very high.
Very.
Wow.
I mean, there's some people there that will do anything to win. They will shove you in the wall if they need to.
Wow.
Like, there's people like that, but then you have people kind of like me and a few other people where we're just there kind of just to do it for fun. I'm not there to make a buttload of money. Yeah, based on your position, you will make money.
Oh, neat.
But I'm not going there trying to win $1,000 or something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going there to have fun.
No, totally understand that. I mean,
but there's people out there that will do anything to win.
I'm sure, and those people probably. Do you think they're in it for the money, or because they want to have a future with racing?
Yeah,
for the money.
They're in there for the money. There's a lot of people out there. Like, there's this one racer. His name's Blewett. That's his last name. He owns a lot of racing companies, but he also races himself, and he'll do anything to win. He'll spin you out and throw you in the wall, and he'll have no problem with it.
Wow. So then if crashes are that common, even in like this low level racing, like I guess safety. Well, I mean, all racing safety is a huge priority, but I'm imagining especially with open wheel.
Yeah, we need you need a 5-point harness, you need the Hans device, you get a neck brace, you need a helmet, and you need a fire suit, gloves, shoes.
Yeah, so it's the real deal.
But I've been in a few accidents, but I think I got on the easier side the most. And some people I've seen some people hit the wall and they break a foot or something.
Yeah.
But luckily, thank God, I've never broken a bone or gotten seriously injured in any of them. I think the worst thing was it was actually the first race of the season, and a guy put me right into the wall, right out of the corner. So you're pretty much full throttle right out of the corner. So he put me right in the wall, and we do a 5-point harness, and there's one for the guys. There's one by your junk. And I hit the wall so hard that it basically pulled it up and hit my nuts, and I lost my breath. That was probably one of the worst.
Ooh, that's not fun.
Feeling.
No, that's definitely...
And there was another one where I was going to avoid a wreck in front of me, so I just turned the wheel to go down the infield, and this guy just didn't even bother hitting his brakes. So he went full speed right in the side of me. And luckily, I had my foot on the brake instead of the clutch, because if my foot was on the clutch, he hit the car so hard it actually snapped the clutch pedal on the inside of the car.
That's insane.
So thank God my foot wasn't there.
Yeah.
That'd have been bad.
So, I mean, obviously there must be like a huge adrenaline rush. But do you get like scared or like nervous before a race?
Always. You always get the little jitters, the butterflies right before you go out there, because you never know what can happen.
Yeah.
You're out there and you never know. A car can basically drive on top of you because we're open wheeled. So, I mean, tire over a tire, you can fly in. There's woods right behind it. Like, there's a big fence, but there's woods.
Right.
You never know. You can go through that fence and go in the woods, and your car could explode. You never know. So, I mean, you always get the butterflies before you go out there. But normally, maybe a lap or two in, I'm more focused on the driving than thinking about what's exactly going to happen.
Yeah, but then when you do see an inevitable crash coming up, then like what kind of goes through your head?
Normally,
brace for him.
I mean, a lot of the time it kind of turns it down to like slow motion. Like,
oh yeah.
your brain's kind of just like, okay, what do I do? And I think I have pretty quick instincts. Like because there's a trick. You never look at the car in front of you when you're racing. You look like 5 cars in front of you because you want to see what's going to happen up there. So say a wreck does happen, I still have
see it
those
already.
5 cars to react.
Yeah.
So I mean, you get those sometimes like, wow, that was a close one. Actually, driving right before about 20 minutes ago, I'm driving normally and a groundhog comes flying out of the woods. So, my reactions, I had to fly out of the way. I mean, it does. Same thing kind of happens with racing. Someone spins out, you gotta move quick to get around. But there's been some times where like they wreck right in front of you and you have nowhere to go.
You're just part of the wreck then.
Yeah. You just have to hit them. At that point, you can either turn the wheel and hope the backside of the car hits them, because the worst thing you can do is go head on with someone. It's the worst pain. Two, the motor's there. You don't want to mess that up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a certain level of looking out for the other car as well. Yeah.
Yes. Like, I don't go out there thinking, oh, I don't like this guy, I'm going to purposely wreck him and make him get hurt. Like, I would never do that because I know how it feels. So, like, the first race of the season, I was out. I got hit into that wall, and I was out for the next, 2-3 weeks. So I know how it feels.
Yeah, because that's
kind of stuck.
One crash is tons of, man hours and then tons of money as well.
Exactly. Thank God a lot of the drivers there are really close. So, if you ever really need, really you're desperate and you really need something, you could always go around and ask someone, hey, you got to spare this, you got to spare that. And most of the time they'll be cool with it and they'll be like, yeah.
So is there, a regulation for, the setup, engine and the actual, car? Okay. So there's a lot of common cars then.
Yeah. I mean, you'll get some people that will kind of move their way around the regulations a little bit to get a little faster, but they won't catch it. There's some things. I got my motor, I got it redone. We get it rebuilt every year.
Yeah.
So I got it redone, and the guy put an illegal camshaft in it. Oh. And I didn't know. So we, there's this thing that we have to go through in the beginning of the year, and they basically inspect your entire car.
Yeah.
From the nose to the bumper, they'll inspect the entire thing, seats, belts, everything. And they told me that, and I was like, well, that's weird. So then I went back to the guy, and it was a big commotion. Finally ended up getting it fixed, and basically started.
So that's a complete rebuild, though.
Yep.
To just get the camshaft out and put in the correct one. That's insane.
Pretty much.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
I mean, it got to the point where I was like, I'm not paying anyone to do it.
You did it yourself?
Yeah, me and my dad and my grandfather did it.
That's cool. Yeah.
Took a couple of days, but I was like, I couldn't afford to do it again. I'd be paying for 2 motor rebuilds, just a chance of maybe he'll mess it up again.
So why did he put in the camshaft that he did? Because he wanted to, give you an edge?
Pretty much, he wanted us to, kind of give it more power, pretty much. Okay. But he actually didn't think about it too much, and we ended up getting caught and having to redo all of it.
So what would the benefit of him giving you more power have been? Is he a sponsor for you? So if you're doing better, that means...
Yeah.
Okay. So sponsorship is a pretty big thing then with even at this level.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't have sponsors, you're probably not going to make it too far, because it's a lot. Even tires themselves are a lot of money.
Oh, because one race they're probably done, right?
Yeah, you'll get maybe 1 to 2 races depending on the condition of the track and everything. Yeah. But it gets challenging, and I think you'll probably hear this by a lot of people if you ask other people that race. The hardest part about racing is not even the racing; it's the weather, it's the heat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in this car. I have a helmet, I have thermals, gloves, a suit. We raced one day in 90-something degree weather, and I get out of the car and you're pouring sweat.
Yeah, I mean, when you're driving the car though, do you feel hot, or is it just you're focused on driving? You don't notice until you're done.
Pretty much, you don't notice until there's a caution or anything because you're so focused. Like your body's kind of just like shutting everything out, and
Yeah,
you're just kind of focused on this. But like, you know, uh, if a caution comes out and you know you're driving slow, that gives you time to think, and
and you're like, oh
that's when you
man.
start pouring.
Yeah. No, I mean I've never. So the only racing experience I have is like go karts, indoor go karting, which it was fun. I mean definitely like a first racing experience. I think indoor go karts is a pretty safe, low speed kind of way to get
Yeah.
into it. But it's pretty wild because so I was at RPM Raceway and the
Yep.
way I don't know if it's always like this, but they had like the building is giant, and then one half was one track and the other half was the other. And on the other track, I actually saw, even though I don't know if this is like a real term, but they're like semi-open wheel. Like they have
Yeah, they got
the
like
bumper like around the whole wheels.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
actually saw someone somehow ended up on top of another go kart, and like
yep,
even going like slow like that, like I think they maybe hit 40 miles an hour, and
yeah.
you're not even
And
going fast for
it
that
can
long.
get dangerous. Like I used to race like little go karts too,
Hmm.
and I think that's more scary going like I don't know 80 in those things. That's more scary than going like 100 and something in my big car because there's nothing around you. You don't have
Yeah,
nothing over
the
your
ground is
head.
right there.
That like yeah, you can touch the ground right there, and that was probably the scariest thing I've ever driven because I mean you have no protection. You're
Hmm.
right there.
Yeah,
They come and hit you. They might even hit. They might just hit your body. They might not even hit your cart.
yeah. No, and
And
like I watch a lot of Formula One, so I know in 2018 they introduced the Halos, which
yep,
now the Halos do it's insane. They're so light, but they're so strong. They actually like
yep,
there's been cases like I've seen tires roll over the Halo and just miss the driver. If the Halo wasn't there,
yeah,
driver would have
crazy. But like,
been hit.
thank God they came up with something like that because God forbid, like a tire or something comes and flies and hits you in the head. I mean, you're probably getting knocked out, and
Well,
who knows, even worse.
yeah, no, but it's crazy going back looking at old Formula One or like IndyCar even, and just seeing it open like nothing else in front of the driver's head,
Exactly.
and it's like wow, like that takes some serious like bravery to get in a car and
Yeah,
go those speeds.
yeah, like that blows my mind, and that's even with a lot of sports. Like you got football, they never used to wear pads or helmets.
Yeah,
You got hockey, goalies didn't wear face masks, and they're slapping a puck at you. Like
yeah.
baseball didn't wear helmets. You
Hmm.
think back, like no one really wore helmets. Like Dale Earnhardt that died at what he died at Daytona.
Um, I forget.
I can't remember. I think it's Daytona or Talladega, one of them. I know it's one of the big tracks. Well, they didn't have neck braces back then. That's how he
No.
died.
My girlfriend's dad is like huge into NASCAR. He was a huge fan of Dale, and he read his autobiography, and a lot of it was about all the concussions he had. He would literally
Yep.
he wouldn't even like he wouldn't tell anyone he had concussions. He would keep it a secret. He would just know because based off his past experiences with them. And he'd walk through the shop and he would stay next to like a toolbox or something to hold himself up because he was just so dizzy constantly that he couldn't even stand on his own.
I know. Like it's just like you got to think like the protection levels are insane now. Like they're way better. You know, I feel like now we're actually caring more for the people that are doing it than the cars themselves.
Mhm.
Because if you think, I don't know, way back then, their cars were made out of metal and steel, and like
Like
they wanted
stuff
their
that could
cars
do damage.
durable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now, I mean, you have cars made out of like aluminum and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
it just kind of blows my mind of how we switched from protection of the cars to now the actual people themselves.
Hmm. But going off that, there's also mm, more recently. I think this has been discussion on like Twitter, um, and the difference between inner safety with cars and outer safety. So like if you get a brand new Suburban, that's an extremely like safe car, like inner safety wise, because you can get into a crash and you probably won't even have a bruise or a scratch. But
Yeah.
the thing is that if depending on if you crash into another car that's a lot smaller, older, without as much safety, that driver is most likely going to be like very injured. And
Yeah.
like you, me, like car people, like we don't only like new cars, we also like old cars. Like I love old cars. Like my
Yep.
friend has a Miata, and it's just like if a newer like SUV or something hits him, like he's probably dead or seriously injured.
Yeah, if we get seriously hurt, that is very scary because
Yeah.
they have trucks now. Like let's just say a Ford Raptor. Really nice truck. It's really durable. And then I'm in this with like the height difference. Like my window is probably like at his front grill. That thing T-bones me.
Yeah.
I'm screwed.
I mean, RX-8s though do have very good safety ratings, but
Yes.
up against cars
Yeah.
nowadays, it's you don't really have a chance.
Or like say some like big diesel comes and hits me. Like
Yeah.
I'm probably right at their front grill because my car is I think my car is just a little lower than yours.
Because you have springs or coils, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have springs.
Yeah, I have yet to go low. I'm still waiting for the BC Racing coilovers to go back in stock.
Yeah, I would wait.
Yeah, but no. But then like the argument for cars with better outward safety would be an old car where the driver knows if they get in an accident they're injured. So just kind of by nature, the driver is more attentive to his surroundings and generally will drive in a safer manner, even like if they're like speeding or driving fast. I think if someone who can drive fast the right way, like you race, so you would know, and you could be driving fast, and then like your passenger might feel unsafe, but like you're in control and you know that you're paying attention to all the right things.
I mean, with my girlfriend all the time, we're on the parkway, and I mess with her a little bit, and I'll go a little fast. She's uncomfortable. She drives a Jeep Cherokee, so like she's not really used to speed.
Yeah.
And I'm like going fast, and she's uncomfortable. I tell her, I'm like, I know what I'm doing. Like sometimes it might not seem like it, but I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I've never actually really thought about that, about the difference in safety levels between newer cars and older cars.
Yeah. No, there was so there I follow a lot of automotive journalists because that's like, I mean, you're on a podcast right now, like that's just kind of like what I'm into, automotive journalism. So this one that I follow, he has what does he have? He has like a little Yugo, like tiny car, and he was driving with his son, and I think he lives in Long Island, so drivers out there like are aggressive.
Oh yeah.
And he had some guy on a bridge where there was barely any like space to pull off if like he needed to, and I think it was a Suburban or some sort of truck that was passing a car, like went over the line to pass someone, and was like head on going to hit him, and he had enough space to like duck out of the way, but then like that's what actually like made him think about it. He wrote an article about like the inward and outward safety, how the guy in the truck would have been fine, but he wouldn't have been. Yeah. And then like he was like, if I wasn't driving this car and had to be like aware of my surroundings as much as I did, he probably wouldn't have been able to avoid the crash.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like really interesting. And that kind of goes like with like driverless cars. I think the only way that I see driverless cars to be on the road without any issues is for like the government to make it illegal to drive your own car, because that way all the driverless cars would communicate with each other and not even have there wouldn't be stop signs or stoplights or anything. But like that's no, who wants that? Like everybody wants to drive their own car.
Exactly. Like, and then you have people like us, people that are in the cars. Like we want to drive our cars. We want to be able to get that status. I don't know if it's just me, but I get like a satisfaction of driving my own car. Like, like when I'm going from like 1st, second, third, and like feeling the gears, feeling it, getting gear, and feeling the car's power move. I get like a satisfaction from it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been against electric cars. Like, I've always been against. Like, I drove a Tesla. Like, and my honest opinion, they're not that great. It's like a normal car.
Yeah,
And
just silent.
exactly. And like, what's the fun in that? We all like loud cars. Like, we want our cars loud and we want the bangs.
Yeah.
And then, but like, who knows? Like, my great grandkids, they won't ever experience that. Mm-mm. They won't ever experience what a car actually sounded like.
Yeah.
Because everything then could just be a press of a button and you type in where you want to go and it takes you there.
But I wrote an article for my blog not too long ago kind of about this, and something I said was I was taking into consideration like coronavirus. So yeah. Obviously, like, there was the government kind of made businesses shut down, put a curfew, and people still had the freedom to take their own car and drive it if they wanted to. But let's say we were in the future and driverless cars were like dominating the road, and then there was another pandemic, and then they made curfews and like, you can't travel and stuff. Then they could easily you have a driverless car, you could just put a restriction on it that doesn't even let you go out. And that literally takes away your freedom. So, like, I almost view driverless cars as more freedom restrictive than like driving your own car. Because you're really limited. Like, you can't go off-roading in a driverless car. Like, how do you do that? You can't.
Exactly.
So there's just so much that I don't think personally in my lifetime I would ever be in support of driverless cars. But
yeah, I don't see myself supporting it either.
Yeah, but I think that it's inevitable, and that sounds like really cliche, but I think like eventually there will be a time where driverless cars will dominate the road, but I don't necessarily think that we'll ever see like driver like centric cars being banned, because I don't think like there's too much of a demand for drivers, and I don't think that'll ever go away.
Yeah, and like just think about how many jobs that's going to get rid of.
So many.
Like, not even just saying like New York City, how many taxis do you see? They're all over the place. That's how people make their living. And then you have like Uber and Lyft, like that's people make living out of that. Mm-hmm. DoorDash.
Yeah.
Like people make a living out of that, and then say you just get rid of it. And then like there's hotels, even hotels I've been to, and they have the little robot that comes and brings you your food and stuff.
I've never even seen that. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. It's like a little robot, and it brings it up to the door. Like it's crazy. It brings it up to your door, and then it's like a little like latch, and you press a button and it opens it up, and like there's your food. And it's like
what?
Like it's just crazy to me. And like you'll see them, they just go around the whole hotel, just like it's like those automatic vacuums where you can just press a button and they go?
Yeah, like the Roombas.
Yeah, it's just like that. But a robot that brings you food.
That's I don't know. I just this automation thing is like the fact that like there are people who will have like the butt end of it is just very unfair. And I mean, I think as a society, like the younger generation is more heading towards jobs that won't be replaced by something, but I also think there's also a lot of existing jobs that will be replaced, and what's going to happen to those people?
I mean, like, what's going to happen when you have, the 30, 40-year-old men working in the mechanic shops? They don't know how to work on electric cars. I don't know how to work on electric cars.
Yeah.
So, like, they're either going to have to learn or they're going to get fired and replaced by some young kid that knows how to.
Yeah.
Like, if someone came up to me with a Tesla and they're like, oh, something's going wrong, I don't know what to do, I don't know what's wrong with it, can you help me? I'm going to tell them, like, I have no clue even how this thing works.
Literally, like, it's all software. like all software.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't. It's not like I could pull a computer out of my back pocket and like plug it in and start looking things up. Like
Yeah.
now, if you ask me if you have like a normal car, like say you have a Honda Civic, right? You ask me, oh, this is happening. I could probably look at it and might be able to tell you what's wrong with it because it's. I like to call it a regular car, like it's an actual
that's
regular.
what it is. Yeah, it's a regular car. I mean,
but it's not like a robot.
Yeah. No, I mean, in those terms, like even a rotary is a regular car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, you do get the people that are kind of like, what the heck is this when they look at it? Because like you open our engine bay and you see it, it's the motor's like this. Exactly. The motor can fit in my front seat.
Literally.
Is that small?
Like with the accessories too.
Exactly. With everything, I could take it out and put it right in my front seat and be like, okay.
It's so light. With everything, it weighs 220 pounds. Like nothing.
That's crazy for a motor.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly how sure our cars weigh fully. I think it's.
I don't know actually.
I think it's around like 2,600, 2,800.
RXC. Wait, let me look it up. Oh wow, that's heavier than I thought. 3,064 to 3,111 pounds.
That's not bad. That's actually not that bad.
That's actually a 2011. Let me put in 2005 because it could be different. Okay, it went down 3,029 to 3,053.
Yeah, and just think 200 of that is our motors.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
So the rest of the car, say with no motor, is like pretty close to what I said.
Yeah,
which is insane.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm all for like power to weight ratio. I'm all for that because that's what makes a car fun. I feel like you could have a Hellcat, but to me personally, like I don't like going in a straight line. Yeah, it drives like a boat.
It's a boat.
It goes in a straight line and then you're done.
Exactly. They're too heavy. Like that's why I like our cars. I can. My friend has an old Cougar.
Okay.
And he has a 4.6 in it, and he can take turns going 30, 40, as I'm taking turns going 50 or 60.
Yeah.
That's what our cars are meant for. Our cars are light and they're meant for flying around corners.
Yeah.
But and then I have a buddy who's got I don't know if you ever saw it. It was at the meet we met at. It was a purple Charger. It's probably the loudest thing there. Or the
I think I missed it.
There was a purple Mustang too. I mean, and those cars like we would drive out to meets together, and they're going like 30 around a turn, and I just go on the outside and I go 50 around them.
Yep.
Because they're both straight line cars.
Yeah, and even going around the outside, you can still get around them.
Exactly. I mean, that's why I don't ever see myself buying like a Charger or a Challenger. I don't, because I mean they're nice cars. Like if someone offered me a Hellcat like for free, I'm gonna take it.
Oh, of course. I mean
who's not?
Yeah,
but
having that much power is fun. Like you can't deny. Like power is fun, but like it's only fun up to a certain point.
Exactly. It's only fun for straight lines. I mean, you're gonna go in a straight line really fast, really loud, and that's it.
Yeah, your fun's over in like what, 12 seconds? Less.
Exactly. And if we go on like an actual road course, I'll lap you 3 times because you're gonna take turns going 20, and I'm gonna take turns going 40.
Exactly. But yeah. So we're coming up on our time here. Is there any questions you had for me? Anything that you wanted to talk about in specific?
I mean, how do you like driving rotary daily?
I actually don't daily mine. I did for almost 2 months. When I was daily, so I had the Explorer as my daily. That blew up for the second time, and I wasn't doing another engine swap. So I dailied the RX-8 in the winter. I dailied that.
Wow.
I dailied
How
that.
did it react in the winter?
How was in the winter?
Yeah.
Not great. So I drove it I think the end of December and then like into February. Or maybe even into March, I forget. But those are some of the coldest months of the year, and having to let the car warm up because it's a rotary was so much worse because like it's cold out, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but the worst part for me when I was dailying it was letting it warm up because usually I like to be able to get in and go, and that just added an extra like 10 minutes to like my routine before leaving.
Like my parents, they always say, because like when I start up in the morning, I give it a couple revs so it warms up a little quicker,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Oh, you're revving the car so much," but like they don't realize you kind of have to in a manual. You want everything to be a little warm before you start moving.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You don't
And
want it bone cold because messes up your transmission. And
mm-hmm.
I find it personally, I find it harder to shift when it's all freezing cold, like nothing's warm.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, when on really cold days, the shifter would be so stiff, like
Yeah,
it
it's
would
like
actually
super
take
stiff.
force to like get it into gear.
Yep. Like do you have a standard shift, right? It's just a standard pattern. You don't have
Yeah,
like a short throw.
standard H pattern. Yeah, no short shifter or anything.
Yeah, well, I ended up putting a short shifter in this. So like when I actually shift now, I mean I got to give it a little push, but like when it's cold out, like and you really got to shove it forward cuz I've had my EK hatch for probably like a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm used to like driving the manual in the cold, and you go from driving an automatic where you can start it and basically leave.
Yeah.
You're driving a manual where you have to start it and wait. What I used to do is I used to start it, go do what I got to do, and then come back out and it's warmed up by then.
Yeah, pretty much. But so I park in the garage now because before winter came, I cleared out my garage. It's like there's barely any space for a car, but I cleared enough out for the RX-8, and it would just be like sometimes some mornings like when I was dealing, or even some mornings when I know I want to take the car out. It's like I probably should go out and like back it out and let it warm up, and then like go in and finish what I'm doing. But it's just like I hate having to like go squeeze in the car because like the garage is very narrow, and I hate having to like squeeze in and then back it out and then go back inside. So sometimes like I'll only let it warm up for like a little bit. Like I'll wait for the needle to move, and then I'll granny shift for a few miles.
Yeah. One more question. How do you feel about the reverse in your car?
So I need engine mounts, and sometimes when I go into reverse, it doesn't actually engage, and you could feel it. So you experience the same thing?
Yep.
Yeah. First time.
And then you let off the clutch, and it makes that obnoxious noise.
The grind. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I test drove it before I bought it, that happened, and I was like, "Uh oh, like what was that?" And then he was just like, "Oh, I don't know." And then like I did it again, and I was like, "Oh, well, I think I know what it is," because the Integra did the same thing. So I was like, it needs engine mounts or something. And
my hatch, my EK did the same thing, but almost in like every gear, it like you had to really push it in gear for it to actually go. And yeah, I actually bought that EK hatch for like $200.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because they impounded it and it was on one of their auctions, and I was like $300. Or I don't know if I bought for 2 or 3, but I mean, it had quite a bit of miles on. It had, I think, 150 when I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not awful. I'm at like 170 because I used to daily drive that thing a lot. But and then I bought this, and I thought like, I don't really know exactly what I want to do to this car yet. I don't know if I want to go more of a track style or more of a, I guess you can say, car meet style.
Yeah, more show-offy kind of, right?
Yeah, more like, yeah. Well, my next purchase is I'm getting a tune on it, so it will have like the pop and the bang.
What tune? Because I was thinking, long term, I want to do RX-7 engine swap and do a single turbo setup. But in the meantime, to hold me over, I did want to get a tune. So what are you going with?
It took me a long time to find something.
Yeah.
Now, the best option that I found is actually a Cobb tune.
Do they still? I
So
thought they don't sell the Access ports anymore, though.
they don't, but if you look hard enough on the website, you'll still find some. So I actually found one just for, it's not even like just for my model, it's just Mazda in general.
Oh.
So
Okay.
it will just tune any Mazda. So like you can get like, a Mazda 3, 6, RX-7, RX-8. You can actually use that. So, I'm going a little pricey, but I mean, besides that, the only thing I found was like on eBay for like $250.
Yeah. No. Don't don't do that.
I just don't trust it, especially with
No.
my
For
type of engine. I don't.
anything that says it's a tune for under $500 scares me because
Me too.
just like based off of like knowledge and what I've seen, like nothing works for cheap. Like if you're tuning
No.
your car, you want to do it right. You might even like break your ECU, and then that's a whole computer that you need.
Yep. Yep. Which sucks.
Yeah, but no, that's cool. You gotta let me know how that goes.
Yeah, definitely will.
But before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to promote or like shout out or anything?
I mean, anyone can follow me on Instagram. It's just Jacob.DeMartino. This guy is really cool. I appreciate you having me
Thank
on
you.
the podcast.
Yeah, thanks.
And if anyone's out there and they're trying to look to get into the car community, we don't shame anyone. Unless you drive a Mustang, then you might get a little hate.
Crowd killer.
We bring everyone in. I remember I was like 15, 14 years old, and I was like, damn, I need a really nice car to get in it. I drove a stock Honda Civic, and people still came up to the car. So
Listen,
I mean,
getting into the car community is all about the people you know, the connections you make, and that's like why I did this podcast. It's literally supposed to be if you don't know where to start getting into the car community, listen to this podcast. We have all sorts of people on. You have cars that you just like to build and drive, and I have photographers on, so it's just a really great way to kind of get an overall idea of what the car community is really like. And once you find out it's really friendly,
it's
then
an amazing thing.
Yeah,
It's an amazing thing that you're doing. I mean, like you're bringing pretty much everyone together to show that the car community is not as bad as what people make it to seem.
exactly.
Like how they call them Karens or whatever you want to call them. Like, and some cops, like they make the car community look really bad. Like we're trying to wreck the streets and everything. We're not. We're just trying to have fun. We're trying to hang out, and that's why. I mean, sometimes I wish the cops would just take a step back and think, like, what are they actually doing wrong? I mean, crowding a parking lot and maybe revving a little bit isn't anything too bad. I mean, burnouts. I mean, you're doing a burnout. I mean,
No, yeah,
it's
all about
really
having a
cool
good
what
time.
you're doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, like I said earlier in the show, this is the last podcast until July 30th, and then July 30th, I'm having my friend Joey Dunzelman on. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, go listen to some old episodes because I won't be here for a while. So yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in.